listen to me, listen closely. If you are not explaining why you went with this design to your clients, they're gonna building a system is so important as a beginner. I'm gonna keep drilling that into you guys' head until you guys understand. Niggas want me to get ratchet. Niggas want me to. Hey guys, what's poppin'? It's your girl Tawana, aka T, whatever you want it to be at the end of the day, and I am back with another video. I just want to say, if you guys are new here, thank you for tuning into this video, and if you guys are returning subscribers, thank you so much. I am genuinely seeing this community grow so much, and it gives me goosebumps if I'm being so honest. So thank you so much. Every time I upload, I see my subscribers going up, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you. I don't know I'm not gonna say thank you, but thank you. So as you can tell from the title, today we're going to be talking about my entire client process and how you can steal it and apply it to your business to make you come across as a pro in your profession. So before we dive into the video, you guys kind of know the terms and conditions at this point. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. It really helps me out and lets me know what kind of videos you guys like and what more videos you want to see, what videos you want to see more of. But yeah, so let's just dive into the video. So let's kind of just talk about client process overall and why we need to implement this as soon as possible into our freelancing business. So as anything, any business, you know, there's systems in place, there's process in place to take people from A to B, to make it seamless and to kind of give each other that understanding and what is expected from both parties. And that's kind of what you need to do. I feel like as a beginner, we get so caught up in the design phase that we actually forget that there's so much important steps before and after the design phase, which actually helps us to improve as designers as well as a business. You have to understand, we are running a business here, we're providing a service to people, so we need to kind of do that effectively and efficiently, and implementing a client process is going to do exactly that. So I'm going to break down my design process for logo designing. However, I feel like this can be taken and tweaked if you guys are web designers or whatever freelancing business you have. Just kind of take what resonates with you and start implementing it as soon as possible, and you guys will actually see quite quickly how seamless and how easy the client process can actually be, and making it more efficient for your clients. Enough of the dilly-dallying, let's just break down these steps so you can start stealing them and implementing them into your business as soon as possible. Step number one, which you guys will probably already know about, is the onboarding phase. So this is every step from taking your client as a potential lead to actually onboarding them as an actual client, and this is how I kind of go about it. So step one is a client inquiry. This is basically where the client will fill out my inquiry form, which is linked in my bio or via my website. The reason why I like Google Forms is just because it's free and it's unlimited, and it helps to like separate the unserious inquiries and the serious inquiries. The other platform that I do also use is Typeform. The only thing with Typeform is only 3 for your first 10 submissions, and after that you would have to pay a monthly subscription. So I don't use Typeform for my general inquiry forms. I do use Google Forms because you will get some unserious submissions, and you don't want one submission to be wasted on an unserious client and then having to pay for subscription when, let's say, God forbid, 50% of them are unserious clients. Whereas Google Form kind of helps to get that submission in, you can follow up, and then if they ghost you, then you don't have to worry about a wasted submission. And then as soon as I get my inquiry notification, I will draft up an email from my templates. If you guys want that will be linked in the description box. It's just templates of emails that you can send to your clients to make it just copy and paste basically, and just change it to the client itself. I'll leave that linked in the description box. But also, if you don't want to try those out, use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really good for helping you write out some professional friendly emails to make you obviously come across as a professional, because that is what we are, professional graphic designers, speaking into existence here, speaking into existence. So yeah, after that, we will send out an email and kind of just agree to schedule a call. I call this the Fit Me Call. And the reason why I call it the Fit Me Call is because it's basically a call for you and the potential client to have a conversation about what you both expect, what any questions, any confusions, and kind of just highlight if you are the best designer for what they need. I've done so many of these now, and at first I was really shy to jump on a call with people, but literally they're just humans. You just speak to them like you would speak to a colleague at work, and you just have an open discussion. You guys, I've had some good conversations with my clients. We smile, we banter, we understand certain things that are confused or stories they've heard. You can help to clarify that, and I feel like that face-to-face interaction kind of helps to bring down that barrier a little bit, because as well as you providing a system and you're a business, they can also see that you are human as well, and we all like that human interaction, even though sometimes it does make us nervous. So I like the Fit Me Call because it helps me to kind of like know if this project is for me. I'll be totally honest with you guys, there are some projects that I'm just not fit for, and it's okay to decline a project respectfully. It just kind of shows where your skills lie, and it helps you to come across as a real professional. I feel like as a beginner, you feel like you need to accept every single project that comes through the door, and yeah, to a certain extent maybe you should, to kind of get yourself out there. But at the same time, if you're speaking to the potential client and it's not making sense, or you personally don't think you're a good fit, do not take it on, because it's just going to add stress onto you, because you've basically agreed to produce something and meet a certain expectation when you really can't. And two, it can also lead to bad client interaction, because they've got in their head that they are expecting this from you, however you can't really deliver that, and then it can lead to people going on TikTok and making these silly negative reviews about your business, which could potentially just stop you getting booked up. And also, if you guys don't feel comfortable or you don't think you're a perfect fit, it's okay to tell the client that is not the case. The best thing you could do is just recommend them to someone that you feel like is a good fit, which I do all the time. If you guys haven't checked out my how to get clients, that's why I mentioned why networking is so key. But I've kind of waffled a little bit again, so let's come back to the steps. So after the Fit Me Call, this step will depend on how the Fit Me Call goes. And I know a lot of like professional graphic designers, this is a standard procedure for them. However, what I've experienced, I personally don't feel like it's necessary, and that is a client proposal. I feel like, based on my experience, sometimes when I jump on a call, the client there and then is ready to be onboarded, they're ready to receive their contract, and they're ready to make their first payment. At that point, I don't feel like I need to send you a client proposal, because a client proposal is basically like, you're going to basically propose your services, what to kind of expect, breaking it down for the client to kind of think about if they do want to work with you. However, if the client has already confirmed that on the call, why am I sending out a client proposal? Do you see where I'm going with this? I feel like just use your initiative. If the client is very happy from the call, which is great by the way, and they're ready to work with you like now, don't waste your time going to draft up a client proposal. You're just wasting time. Get the client contract drafted up, get the first invoice ready, set up their client portal, and send them a welcome package, because a welcome package will basically be a client proposal in the sense where they have similar stuff, but instead of you trying to sell yourself in a way through the client proposal, it's already been solidified, if that makes sense. However, if you have a client that's a bit on the fence and kind of wants to think about it, then I would send a client proposal where you make it look all good and neat, and then they kind of see the value that you're going to provide. And also it kind of helps you to stand out from your target, from your competitors as well, because not all graphic designers do that, especially small graphic designers. So take yourself up a notch and potentially get like a template. I feel like loads of designers have some out there. Just download them and use them and start sending them to your client. Then we move on to the contract. This is a whole conversation itself, and if you guys want me to kind of delve into contracting and what you kind of need to implement into your contracts, then comment that down below and I will bring that video for you. But basically, you want to draft up a contract for the client to review and sign, and then you want to also get your first payment. I do my payments in 3, so that is the initial payment. I don't call it a deposit because it's not really a deposit, it's like your initial, it's like a payment towards your overall payment. So I call it your first initial payment, and then they got an interim payment, and then you got your final payment. The overall reason why I have 3 payment stages is because I feel like that works out best for both you and the client. You have to remember that designing a logo or a website is an ongoing process where you go and do your side, they review it, they send some revisions or changes, it goes back to you to make those changes. So do you see how it's a back and forth interaction? So instead of them paying all at the beginning or all at the end, or even 50-50, where you're not compensated for all the work in between, I feel like you paying as you go basically is better for both you and the client, because it provides security for yourself, as in you're being paid for the times you've put in, and it also makes sure the client's paying for what they're receiving, if that makes sense. So that's kind of why I have a 3-step payment method. After the contract and the payment has been received and the welcome package has been issued, the client is officially on boarded, and we can go to the next stage, which is the research phase. So the research phase for me can be a bit boring at times, but also is very, very necessary, but at times can be also very, very interesting. But we start off with a client questionnaire. So I will send my clients a logo design questionnaire for them to fill out, which is very, very detailed. We go into the visual aspects of what they're kind of looking for in terms of their brand, and we also break down the business's values, their personality, everything that's like behind the face of the brand, basically how it got started. All of these kind of questions can kind of help you to kind of bring up ideas into how you can start designing their logo fit for their brand. I use Typeform for this because Typeform has more of a better aesthetic, and because this is now a paying client, I want to give them that kind of full experience. So I will use Typeform to make sure that they kind of get that a little bit of aesthetic when they fill out their questionnaire. And like I said, because they already paid for it, I'm not fussed about the submission because they are a paying client. It just looks better, it's just more seamless, and it kind of, you can also make sure like based on their questions, it leads next to the right question, if that makes sense. So yeah, once the client questionnaire has been submitted, I will then review it and follow up if necessary. So once again, you kind of want to use your intuition at this stage, kind of when you would, if you need to follow up, and how you would follow up. So I follow up via email or via phone call. Like I said, it depends. So that I will follow up via email if it's like a simple question, yes or no, or very short answered question. However, say for example, I've asked about their brand personality, or I want to understand more about their values, and I kind of didn't understand what they meant. This is where you really differentiate between a beginner and a pro, because you as a designer, if something is not clear, please ask the client to clarify, because in their heads, if you haven't followed up, it comes across like you know what they are trying to say, and then when you come out with something that's completely wrong, it just makes you look bad as a designer, and it makes them question your skill set. If you guys are unsure, ask questions. It doesn't make you look stupid, it makes you look professional, because you're trying to get a very clear understanding of what they are looking for and how you can implement that into their design. Nobody knows everything, and sometimes the way people word things, it can be confusing. Follow up with your clients if necessary, and those kind of follow-ups should be via a Zoom call or a Google call, or however you are contacting your clients. Get on a call and get them to clarify what it is. After you've done all the boring research and you've figured out their target audience, and you've kind of like just agreed how you're going to implement all this together, you're then going to put it in a lovely presentation where you're going to present it to the client. You can present it yourself. I just know, based on my clientele, everyone likes to read stuff in their own way, and then if there's anything they want to clarify or they're unsure about, we would then again jump on a call. So yeah, we would have created 2 mood boards. I create 2 mood boards because I kind of always want to give the client options, or an option they might not have thought of that might be a little bit out of the box or a little bit to the other way of what they overall had. And surprisingly, you'll be very surprised how some clients might actually pick the second option. So after that, send it to the client to review, and then we basically get a mood board approval. Once the creative direction / mood board is approved, then we have finished the research phase and we go to the best bit, which is the design phase. To be honest, I sometimes I feel like the design phase is the best stage, but sometimes it is the worst, because I'm a perfectionist, so I overthink my design sometimes. And it's so mad, like I overthink the designs, get upset about it, then when I actually send it to them, the client loves the design, and I was stressing about the design for so long for no actual reason. So but anyway, so So now that the client has confirmed the direction they want to go visually, you can kind of start drafting out and getting all your designs on paper, especially because you have that mood board to give you that guidance and kind of remind you the way you need to go, so you don't go off track and you don't create something that's got nothing to do with what the client visually is looking for. I create all my rough sketches on Procreate. I used to do it on Sketchbook. However, I feel like I go through phases, but I feel like I'm like 90% iPad girl now. I think I've like kind of transitioned into that digital era. But yeah, I just use everything on my iPad, and I just use Procreate and sketch everything. The reason why I love Procreate, and if you have an iPad and you don't have Procreate, then what is you doing? Like, get with the times. The reason why I love Procreate is because literally you can sketch out this whole design. But obviously, say if you wanted to tweak it a little bit, but you didn't want to get rid of the visual design, you can literally just copy that design exactly how it is, drag it across, and edit it how you want to make the little small tweaks to make like a logo variation, instead of you having to sketch out the same logo again and again and again, which you would have to do on paper. Another thing I like about Procreate as well is that it's very easy to trace stuff if you're not good at drawing. And before you guys come for me, no, I don't trace other people's designs. Like, I forgot what that famous guy's name is, but artists don't, what is it? We steal people's work to inspire ourselves. So if you see something that you like the same way you guys are gonna steal my process in order to level up your client experience, is the same way I'm gonna steal little bits and bobs from other designers that I feel like would go really well for this client. However, I'm not gonna steal the entire logo. So what I kind of mean by tracing is, with Procreate, you can bring in an image, or even fonts. I do a lot with fonts. So for example, I will bring in a font that I feel like would go well, and I will rub out the font on Procreate, so I'll trace over it and then I'll rub it out on Procreate, and it kind of gives me a better visual of where I'm going. I'm gonna insert a clip so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, but that's another reason why I like Procreate, because you can seamlessly put things together and really level up and have good rough designs to implement into Adobe. Once we've got like all our sketches out and we've got 100 ideas, we kind of need to squeeze it down and kind of solidify the final ones, depending on the package or depending on how many concepts they get. However, I usually do 2 to 3 max concepts. I'm even thinking to not do 3 anymore and bring it down to 2. I feel like when I have 2, it's more easier for my clients to choose, and then we tweak whatever needs to be tweaked. Sometimes with 3, it gives the client a bit too much options, and that's what you kind of want to do. You kind of want to get all your ideas out, look at the designs and feel like what you think would be best, and finalize that. Once you've got your design concepts chosen, your rough ones, put them into Adobe, finalize these designs, get ready to present these logos to your clients. So once I finalize my designs, a lot of people start to implement color. I don't, only because from what I've learned is, if the client doesn't like the design in black and white, they're probably not gonna like it in color. That's not to say all clients are like that, but if you love something in black and white, implementing it and adding color is just gonna take it to the next level. And I feel like it stops the back and forth, because some clients focus too much on the color when you ask them for feedback. We're not here to talk about the colors. I want to know if you approve the logo, like the actual design of the logo. And I feel like when I started designing in black and white and sending it to clients in black and white, I always give a disclaimer in my presentations that these are in black and white. We have not added color yet, so that will be in the next stage. But this is just to solely focus on the design. And the feedback is way more informative and useful, and you kind of know which kind of way they want to go based on design. Before we even get into that stage, listen to me, listen closely. If you are not explaining why you went with this design to your clients, they're gonna have difficulty in confirming a logo. You need to understand you are the expert in this. They have come to you, they paid for you for a service. As much as their input is important, you are the professional, so you need to come across as a professional, as in you know what you're talking about. So explain to them why you merged the 2 letters together. Explain to them why you went with that icon. Explain to them why you chose this font. Explain to them why you overlap. Like, explain it to them so that when they are reading the presentation, they don't have to question. You need to dumb it down for your clients. Design dummy 101. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to call my clients dumb, because they are far from dumb, but you need to make your presentations that simple for them. This is not their expertise, this is not their strengths. So you cannot expect them to just see a design and be like, oh, I completely understand why we went with this design. No, you need to explain it to them. Have these little arrows, these little whatever you want to call it, add it in. It doesn't need to be detailed. You know, like an overall, and on the side you can have like these little arrows explaining why you went with certain things. And if they do have further questions, they can follow up with you. But it just saves that back and forth and saves the questioning and second guessing them. And then it will also educate them. And that's another key thing as well, educating your clients in the design process, because not only you would explain why you went with this font, you're going to explain to them why this font is best for their brand. Black and white logos explain logos for dummies 101. Remember that. After that, you've got to wait for the client's approval of the logo, and they might have small tweaks, and that's okay. Once they've kind of confirmed the logo, you just want to finalize that, get them in all the deliverables and all done neat. After the design phase is done, finalized in terms of their logo, we would then focus on their brand assets. So I had a bit of trouble with this at first because I wasn't implementing brand assets, but I have seen how it does wonders for my clients. And I currently ask clients what brand assets they would like for their business, and I give them a list. I will obviously provide my professional suggestions as to what I feel like their business would need at that time. However, if they know what they want, they can pick from the list. I don't let them run wild and say, oh yeah, I need a web design, because I ain't being paid to design your website. But for example, small things like a business card, Instagram highlights, Instagram template, you kind of just want to have like a simple list they can pick from. And then because you've got the logo spot on, because you know the direction they're going in, this and the colors and everything's been confirmed, it's not hard to implement a design for their brand asset. I feel like it just takes you up from another level from just delivering a logo, because they get these little extras and it makes them feel valued. And then after presenting your logos and they have been reviewed, you need to ask for your second payment. Second payment is due at this point because you need to be covered for that work you have just done before you send over the deliverables. Make sure you're getting paid for your time. Do not proceed to the next stage unless they have paid. Logo's been finalized, brand sets have been chosen, everything's been approved, the client's happy, you are ready to offboard the client. Offboarding is not just a goodbye. Like, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, cool, here's your shit, bye, done, what to do. Get your final payment. No. So the first thing you do want to do is get your final payment, because obviously everything is getting ready to be sent to their email or their Google Drive or however you plan to share their assets with them. So like free options at the moment will just be best to send everything via email, which is good to highlight in the contract that they should not expect you to store this for them. Once you've sent that to them, they are responsible for keeping that on file. However, as I've grown and I can afford certain things, I do give my premium packages a Google Suite, in terms of they have a link to a Google Drive where all their assets is. So if they did ever lose that email, they can use the Google Drive. Based on how much logos and how much clients you and I gonna be getting, that is gonna fill up very, very quickly. So it's probably best to send it by email at first. Once you kind of got that good thing and you can kind of probably afford a bigger online space, then I would think about like getting a Google Drive with more storage. Quite quickly you're gonna fill up. And as well as that, make sure you're backing it up on a hard drive. There are two different hard drives that I use. I use I think it's the HHD, which is like a traditional hard drive. That is literally just for storing all my projects once they've been finalized. None of the nitty gritty stuff like the ongoing changes, revisions. No, that's just all the final stuff, all on one hard drive. Boom, barely touch it, because those kind of hard drives can break easily. You kind of don't want it to be moving around a lot. Whereas like the SSDs, they transfer information much quicker, and two, they're a bit more sturdy in the fact that they don't break as easily. So when I'm like doing ongoing clients, that is what I'll be using to access their stuff. But obviously Adobe's really good by having a cloud suite as well. So sometimes a lot of the time I do have my stuff on there. But yeah, you kind of just want to find a system in place of how to like store your work, and have a file or software you can kind of share. You can obviously let your client know that you will keep on file their assets for a certain amount of months, maybe depending on how you feel comfortable. I do offer my clients a 6 month on their Google Drive before it potentially will be removed, and then that's when I'll transition it onto the hard drive full time. That's just totally up to you at this stage. And then obviously you want to also give them a goodbye package, and just ensure that you thank them for their time, wish them luck on their journey, and just kind of like just a goodbye message really, because you guys have been doing this for X amount of weeks. You guys have built a relationship. relationship. So it's kind of sad sometimes to see these relationships come to an end. After that, you've emailed all their stuff, you've given them a goodbye package, you've had the kind of call, but like I said in the beginning, this is not goodbye. I feel like to really take yourself up a notch is having that maintenance / checkup period. I do mine with 3 months because I'm kind of getting to that stage now with one of my clients, and she said she really appreciates the idea of this actually. But basically I allow my clients to go out in the world with their brand guidelines, their brand assets, their logos out into the world, and they get to get real live information and metrics on how their visual identity is doing for their brand, and say if they feel like something is not working. That is what that 3-month checkout period is. I will then email my client 3 months down the line. I'll just kind of let them ask some questions. How's it going? How are you finding the logos? Blah, blah, blah. And they might just want something tweaked. And it kind of just gives them that reassurance that you didn't just do a logo and fuck off and go. But having that maintenance checkup period will just help to provide reassurance that you haven't just provided a service. You're here for their start off journey into the role with their visual identity as a graphic designer, and you can help them to come up with concepts, and it could lead to additional works because you checking up on them shows them that you haven't forgotten about them. You also find out about the business, how's it going, and then they might be like, you know what, Tawana, I actually need this. Any chance we can, boom. Do you know what I mean? I check up on my clients, see how they're finding their logos. Is it suiting their needs? What's not working? What is working? And by the way, like, no, I'm not going to create a whole new logo. They would have to book a rebrand or whatever. But I will happily make small tweaks. Like, for example, say that pink, they don't feel like it works well and they want it a shade darker. I will happily change the pink. Do you know what I mean? Changing it from one hex code to the other is not that deep. Do you know what I mean? And it just shows that you're willing to go over and beyond for your clients. And this is why, once again, if you refer to my how to get clients, why you need to go over and beyond for your current clients, because you don't know who they know. Like, I'm a live example. Like, I'm not just telling you this shit just to speak shit. I'm speaking facts. But yeah, start implementing the maintenance phase. If they come back 3 months later and they're just happy, it's going well, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if they give you another testimonial. Do you know what I mean? Do not be surprised. So I feel like that is my overall design stage process. I hope that you guys found this information useful and found out ways how you can implement this into your current processes. How you can implement this into your client process and take yourself from a beginner to an intimate level, because this is what us designers are doing. Like, look at your favorite designers. Hopefully I am one. And see how they're doing their things. Watch as many people. I'm just one person, and I do believe in watching as many people as you can. Building a design process is so important. Building a system is so important as a beginner. I'm gonna keep drilling that into you guys' head until you guys understand how important it is to have a design process. Okay, so we are done here, and I am going to say goodbye to you guys once again, and I'll see you guys next week. Once again, thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.